So I was on YouTube the other day and I came across a video that I think shares a point that needs to be shared with you all out there. And this demonstrates why traditional tournament style fishing, I think it's just time for it to be over with, because it is really harming our fisheries. And let's get to it.
Channel last couple of days, I fished the BFL tournament yesterday on Table Rock Lake. I heard a comment from one of the people down there working the release tank. What happens is when you weigh your fish, you take them down to the dock and you put them in this big tank and they sort of observe them, make sure they're okay before you turn them back. And when I went down there to put my fish in there, of course, I caught mine shallow, so they swam right down in the tank. Man, like every bass in there was belly up, floating on their belly.
And see, guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So the thing that you don't know here is how long were those fish in those live wells, like riding around in these boats in their belly up, because they were caught deep and then put in a very shallow live well where they've been riding around for hours. And so then you've got all these bass at this release site where these workers at the weigh-in are attempting to try to get this fish to the point that it can even swim off on its own. And that's not even saying that that fish is going to ultimately survive being released.
And I heard one of the guys working there on the tank, he goes, it sure makes my job easier if guys catch them shallow, because they have to fizz all those fish to get them back down. And then also, that doesn't necessarily ensure their survival.
And so he even says it here that whenever you catch these fish shallow, it's going to have a lot less of an impact taking that fish from shallow water, putting it in a live well, but still ultimately this is affecting our fisheries. But these fish, especially the ones caught deep, have something that's called barotrauma, and he's going to go into it right here.
You have this element called barotrauma. When a fish is caught out of deep water, it puts a tremendous amount of stress on their eyes and their internal organs. And a lot of times, even if those fish are fizz, they die. So ultimately, catching fish out of deep water is not good for bass. I mean, that's one of the things that just the reality of fishing. You can't really get around that. So
the main point that he's trying to make here is the fact that, catching these fish from deep is really impacting the survivability of these fish. But what I would challenge anybody out there to really think about objectively is that doing these traditional style tournaments is really harming our fisheries.
From that point, live scope fishing deep has not been a plus for our fishery as far as sustainability. Saw that firsthand yesterday at Table Rock. But
here he's making the argument about live scope once again, that he thinks that live scope is the main thing that's causing all this. And, partially I agree that live scope is enabling people to catch more fish deep. But I would argue that overall traditional tournament style fishing is probably doing more harm than anything. I think that if these fish were probably caught, if they needed fizzed, and then weighed, measured, and then released, their survivability would probably be a lot better than going on a boat ride for multiple hours. And I actually made this comment on this original video, and I had a lot of different responses to it. People that agreed with me, people that, disagreed with me, people that said that, they agreed with me, but there's no good way to keep cheaters from cheating. And, the problem is that if we keep going the way that we're going with all the tournament pressure, moving all these fish, affecting the biodiversity, affecting the survivability of all these big fish, we're going to really put ourselves in a bad spot, because these fisheries cannot maintain, I think, going the current way that we're doing things. If there was an easy solution, we probably already would have found it. And unfortunately, I don't think you're ever going to find anything that makes everybody happy. But I think at the point that we're at, we owe it to our fisheries and to, the natural resources that we have to change the way that we're doing tournament fishing. And if you agree, disagree, please feel free to comment down below and keep it respectful, people, because like we're all fishermen and we're really all in this together. But as always, guys, don't forget to get outside, do something awesome, and take somebody with you if you get a chance. And check out one of these other videos here. This one here is another one on tournament fishing, and then this one here is my response to the live scope comments from a different video. And I will talk to you in the next video. See you guys.